Hi there, my name is Scott Arthur, and right now I'm the Transport and Environment Committee convener here in Edinburgh. And as well as that, I'm the councillor for Collington, Oxgangs, Fairmile Head. And right now I'm in Collington in my ward on Redford Road, and I'll talk about how that is in a few minutes. Well, hopefully not a few minutes, but I'll get there. So we have the Transport and Environment Committee next week. So this is my normal roundup of what we can expect to see at the committee. So one of the key things we're looking at is the siting of litter bins. Of course, street cleanliness is a huge issue in Edinburgh. I inherited a situation where Edinburgh was almost right at the bottom of the league table in Scotland for street cleanliness. Over the past year or so, we have seen some improvement. But absolutely, the way we manage litter bins is part of that. So next week we'll look at litter bin siting and the need in Edinburgh to perhaps have more in parks, next to bus stops and along our path network, just to help keep our city clean. And what's really interesting about this as well is taking on feedback from the public. We've done a lot of listening, and local councillors. We're also going to be very data driven about where we place these bins, just to make sure we get maximum benefit. So let's hope that gets us well and truly off the bottom of the league table, and we continue to move up it in the coming months and hopefully years. One of the other things I've been talking about since I became convener is the need to change transport in Edinburgh so that it's better fit for the future. So that's about cutting congestion. We're one of the most congested cities in the UK. That's about accommodating growth in the city, both economic growth and also growth in housing. We've set aside land for around 37,000 houses to be built over the next 10 years or so. So incredible challenge there. And also to meet our climate aspirations to help us hit net zero as a city as well. So we've been talking about this for the past 18 months or so, and published today is the consultation we've ran on that. And what this consultation shows is that by and large people are ready for that transition in Edinburgh as we move towards a more climate friendly city with less congestion, where people can move around more easily, hopefully. So people are up for improving the quality of our footpaths right across the city, improving access to bus stops, improving our bus services, more bus lanes, and also about looking again at the city centre to see if we can reduce the non-essential traffic which goes through there, whilst of course protecting the movement of goods and services, which is really important for the city economy. So broadly, this almost got splashed there. Broadly, this consultation is supportive of the direction of travel, if I can use that pun. But what this doesn't mean is it doesn't mean there's going to be plastic bollards popping up around the city on Monday. Really what this means is people in Edinburgh, not everyone, but some of those that have responded to the consultation, it shows that there is support for change. The people in Edinburgh trust us to work on this with them, to work with residents and work with businesses to try and take our city forward and get it fit for the future. Linked to that, we've got separate reports on the speed limits in the city and in the rural roads around the city. So around 86% of the roads inside Edinburgh are already 20 miles per hour, and we've got a report that looks at what we do with the remaining roads, where we've listened to the public, and the results of that listening exercise are presented. And what that shows is that for roads like Redford Road, which is where I'm standing right now, which is still a 30 mile an hour road, there is support locally certainly there's support from the consultation. There is support from the consultation to switch this to a 20 mile per hour road. So we'll be looking at this road and others in the city and thinking about how we take this forward. Obviously, it's really important if we're serious about reducing accidents in the city to cut the speed of vehicles, but I do get that it has an impact on journey times, so we just have to make sure we get that balance right between making Edinburgh a more livable city and enable people to move around. But certainly we have to listen to residents on this, where they're asking for roads like this to have the speed reduced. And likewise, we've done a similar exercise for rural roads in the city, And what's really interesting about that is it shows there's a difference of opinion depending on where you live in Edinburgh. So if you live in these rural areas, you're much more likely to be concerned about the speeds on some of these roads. And if you're a man, you're much more likely to oppose reducing these limits, whereas you're women, you're sort of less questioning of that direction of travel. So really interesting results here, actually, looking at the difference between how different groups view road safety. And road safety is something else we're going to touch on. So I think in Edinburgh, it's pretty clear that we don't have a road safety resource, so that's the team and the budget allocated to it. We don't have a resource to meet the reasonable expectations of people living here. And the report makes clear that really we need to appoint more resource to that team, so more staff. So as well as talking through that, it also touches on the work that will get done in the remainder. I definitely did get splashed there. In the remainder of this financial year. So it talks about speed reduction schemes, it talks about improving crossings, and also work we're doing in and around schools in the city. So really important. And the next report I'm going to talk about is East London Street. So this is a street right next to Lothian Bus's bus garage on Annandale Street, and the residents here are concerned about the movement of buses. So the council's done work looking at noise level, speeds, and the number of buses going down the street. So this is actually quite an interesting report, because I think there's a lot being said about this street, some differing opinions, but this report should hopefully put some facts on the table, so when it comes to decision making, we can do that based on actual evidence. So really important work. I think there's more to do. I think we need to do a traffic survey to better understand how all vehicles are moving through the street, not just buses, but really important actually. And the last thing I'll touch on is actually the first report being considered at the committee, and that's one on the W Hotel, which is the Walnut Whip Hotel, which is part of the St James Quarter development. I think some people do call that hotel something else, but I can't quite remember the name right now. So the operators of that hotel have asked that coaches and taxis be allowed to enter the pedestrian area, which is right at the hotel entrance. And so my feeling is that this is a pedestrian area, and I don't feel it's right for taxis and coaches to be entering that space, particularly where the W Hotel does have vehicle access via the quite sizable car park in the St James's Centre. But nonetheless, I look forward to discussing that in the committee next week, and no doubt I'll learn different perspectives about the operation of that hotel when it opens, and also the car park, etc., and that pedestrian space. So lots happening next week, particularly around that street cleanliness issue, and it's really good to hear, progress being made around, the need to make it easier for people to walk, the need to improve public transport in the city, and the need to make it easier for kids to, walk, wheel and cycle to and from school. So real progress, I think, in terms of listening to the public on those key issues, and let's hope we can get some agreement on those consultation responses, and then in the early next year we'll look at how we respond to that really important work. Okay, bye for now. Quite rainy here, but it means I can make use of my new umbrella which I bought just a few days ago. Bye for now.